This week here on Retirement Well, we got a great show mapped out for you. We're going to start off the show with a special guest here from our office talking about end-of-life planning, something that isn't fun to be thinking of, but what it should be some of the things that you're doing to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of and don't put any unnecessary burdens on them. We're then going to be talking about lifestyle inflation. What does that mean, and are you subject to some of that with these high inflationary pressures we're seeing? Then we're going to be talking about the financial decline in a loved one or seniors. What can you do to help those people and recognize some of the challenges they may be facing and protect them so they can not be taken advantage in an unsuspecting way? And then to wrap up the show, we're going to be talking about interesting retirement planning statistics. I love numbers, and I think you're going to find some of these interesting as maybe you enter your retirement.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
Today we're going to share with you about end-of-life planning, one of those topics that nobody necessarily wants to spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about, but one of those necessary things that we all have to face is our own mortality. And there's a lot of different things that you want to start getting in place beforehand. So it may start with a conversation with loved ones and family and figuring out sort of what that might look like, and going a step further, having a conversation with the estate planning attorney and maybe putting together some of those important documents that may involve a will or a trust or whatever that might look like. And ideally when it comes to end of life, you want to try to avoid as many disagreements if you have multiple children or family that certain assets are to go to certain individuals. It would obviously be helpful to start having some of those conversations ahead of time. I know as I think about for my grandma who passed away at 101 and everything that she had with different artwork and everything for the family, had put names on the back of those different pieces that meant more to different children that had said they were interested in that. So there's, again, Karen, there's a wide variety of things to be thinking about.
I agree with you. It is so important to have those pieces in place before someone dies, because there are so many other things that come up once someone does pass. And the last thing you want to do is have to be worried about filling out complicated paperwork or figuring out what phone number to call or where you're going to be able to get money from or who's doing what. I mean, it's just really helpful to have those things already laid out. And it's really nice for our clients that if they're in that situation, they can come to us and we're able to say, it's okay, we'll take care of the complicated paperwork, we'll make the phone calls for you, we will make sure that the funds get transferred to the appropriate accounts, and you can focus on other things.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, at that time, it's one where you've got a lot of other things on your mind and don't want to be spending time trying to cross the T's, dot the I's, etc. That's part of our responsibility in making sure things get transitioned the appropriate way. A big piece of that with estate planning is the tax implications of doing things one way versus another. You want to be aware of that and be prepared for what that's going to look like. So that's one of the facets of our team here, is having a tax team in place to help ease that process. And I know Karen had a recent situation with the family, and if you can share a little bit about how that was handled.
Yeah, it's, you know, this whole situation becomes especially difficult if one person in the relationship hasn't really been involved to much degree in handling the finances and dealing with the investment decisions and whatnot. And we did have a client come to us recently and let us know that very unexpectedly her husband passed away, and she really didn't know what to do. She wasn't exactly sure where their finances stood or how to access things. So we were able to sit down with her and you know, show her that he had left things in very good order and ease her peace of mind. And luckily for her, she had very close children that could accompany her to the meeting, so that afterwards, if she went home and had forgotten some of the details of what was said, she had a second set of ears there.
Yeah, and that's something that we find really important here at Centennial Wealth Advisory is when it comes to end-of-life planning, even leading up to that, let's say as an example that maybe you're starting to have some memory issues and you're concerned with what that looks like. We encourage to ultimately bring loved ones in, whoever that may be, to start working together as a team to figure out, okay, what does this look like? Do we have everything in place to make this process as simple as possible? And even though a lot of times when we're sitting down with a married couple and working together, there's as you can imagine, a lot of times one that maybe that's more their focus and energy is on the finances, and the other maybe in a lot of other areas and everything in the relationship. And so it's a matter of trying to educate as best as possible and how that all works. And so if you're in a situation where you have some questions about how your plan is set up, how you're structured for end-of-life planning, and you would like that second opinion, we welcome you to give us a call here at Centennial Wealth Advisory. We'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss how you can plan to retire well.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Hi, my name is Jack Klunder, and I am a financial advisor with Centennial Wealth Advisory. I work out of our Cadillac office, and we specialize in retirement planning. We take a very holistic approach. We can help go through all the different aspects of planning that are involved in retiring well. So if you are nearing or in retirement and you have questions that you want to go over, please give the number on the screen a call, and we can have and set up a free, no obligation consultation.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are financial professionals. From investments and insurance products to tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, provided by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. You've worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary consultation, simply contact us today.
Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
Inflation sure has been a hot topic lately, hasn't it? I mean, you can't hardly go to a grocery store, or really any store for that matter, and not see the general price increase of a lot of goods and services out there. And we're feeling that, right? We feel that in our pocketbooks, whether we're retired or not. I want to talk about a term that kind of has been around for a while, but it seems like it's being heard about more with this inflation. And it's something called lifestyle inflation, and also it's been referred to as lifestyle creep. And they're really kind of two different things, but they do kind of go hand in hand together. And what is this? Well, lifestyle inflation basically is the idea is as your lifestyle that you're living is getting more expensive or bigger, then that inflation is going to impact that more. So how does this happen? It happens from lifestyle creep. So lifestyle creep is something as your income grows, your disposable income typically grows. And you start spending that disposable income versus saving it. So think of upgrading to bigger homes, maybe a second home, taking bigger, longer vacations more often, maybe more of expensive vehicles. Think of things that aren't necessary purchases, but a little bit more, I guess, luxury type items. So that begins this lifestyle creep, where your lifestyle you're living is creeping up more expensively. Well, with inflation happening, the areas it's hitting are almost everywhere, right? Whether you're buying groceries or vehicles or something like that. But think of it, if you're spending more money because of this lifestyle that you're living, you're likely going to feel inflation more because you have more things that are being inflated, right? So where can this impact you as we think of retirement planning? So oftentimes, as we near towards retirement, those bigger expenses that we've had over our lives are starting to go down or go away. Think of our home hopefully is paid off, or we don't have a mortgage. Child-related costs hopefully are gone away. We've maybe helped them get through school, they're out of the house, stuff like that now. And so we're hopefully now at our peak earning years, which then usually translate into maybe some peak savings years, that some of these expenses are no longer present or reduced. But if we have this lifestyle creep going on, guess what? Oftentimes our expenses haven't gone down, even though the children have left the house. Probably we still have a mortgage because we've upgraded so much because we're living this higher lifestyle. So now as retirement's approaching, maybe we're not saving enough, or maybe even if we are, the lifestyle we've come to enjoy could be at a certain level. It's going to be hard to maintain, or have to have such a significant dollar balance in a retirement savings account to maintain. It could become problematic. So we have to be careful with this lifestyle creep. It sure sounds enjoyable, right? Taking bigger vacations, longer vacations, all that sort of stuff. But we have to be careful as we near retirement how this could impact us. Very uncommonly do we come across someone that says, yeah, I wish to live a much less lifestyle in retirement than I did during my working years. Nobody wants to go from taking vacations and doing all this sort of stuff to all of a sudden not doing anything, right? So again, we have to adjust this. So from a retirement planning perspective, as we've talked about over the years, this just doesn't start all of a sudden when you get very near in retirement. This happens a long time before that. So be cognizant of what your lifestyle is, what your expenditures are, and also what that retirement roadmap looks like. I enjoy when I can sit down with somebody that's 20, 30 years old and we can start working on that roadmap and having that direction and those savings goals laid out. It helps kind of remind you what you're looking for, versus you get that raise or you get that promotion and you have this bigger paycheck and all of a sudden it's easy to start spending that. So again, if you don't have a retirement plan or you're unsure of what that may look like, give us a call here at Centennial Wealth Advisory. We'd love to sit down with you, whether it's in our Traverse City office location, Cadillac, Gaylord, or Petoskey, and talk through the various options and look at your retirement plan so we can customize one for you so you can plan to retire well.
What can Retirement Analyzer do for you? Retirement Analyzer is a software tool that can help you prepare today for your financial future. You've worked hard to save for your retirement, but as you near your retirement, you may have concerns. Have I positioned my retirement savings wisely? Have I saved enough for retirement, and will my savings last throughout my lifetime? What impact could inflation have on my future expenses? What if I suffer a long-term illness? Will I have enough money to cover my medical care expenses and still be able to meet my other financial obligations? Could changes in the income tax rates disrupt my retirement strategy? There's no need to be in the dark as you prepare for your retirement. Retirement Analyzer can help you find answers to all these questions and more. The first step is providing us with information on your financial assets, the type and current value of those assets, as well as your sources of income. Then, we work with you to identify your expected expenses in retirement. This will include a discussion of the lifestyle you envision in retirement: travel, a summer residence, whatever you dream your retirement will be. We'll input the information you provide us into the retirement analyzer, and in a very short time, we'll have reports that show us the percentage of assets currently in high-risk vehicles, as well as the percent in lower-risk products. Retirement Analyzer enables us to project your income from year to year in your retirement and see how long your retirement savings may last. As we change the conditions of the report, delaying your retirement date, including costs for long-term care, adjusting the expected tax rate, or adjusting your retirement strategies, we can see how changes in these variables may impact your income in retirement and the longevity of your retirement savings. Let the Retirement Analyzer help you test drive your retirement strategy today, because the time to discover the bumps in the road is not once your trip through retirement has begun. Contact our office today to schedule an appointment for your Retirement Analyzer review.
If you are retired or soon to be retired, let us help you plan to retire well. Centennial Wealth Advisory specializes in retirement planning and has offices in Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, and Cadillac. We'll never pressure anyone to become a client. Our goal is to inform and educate. Simply schedule a meeting at one of our Northern Michigan offices for a free, no obligation retirement review.
As Americans age, they may suffer from dementia or there may be some level of memory impairment, and we're seeing an increasing number in that. And so it's sad to see, but a lot of them are still maybe handling their own finances, and they may be completely on their own in doing so. And so that's where we encourage you to be proactive with your planning. Prepare for the possible event where you lose some cognitive capacity. And so that's where a few different steps that you could take. First, maybe it's talking to an estate planning attorney about what do I need to put in place. And that's where like a power of attorney for your financial situation, as well as then there's a separate one for your health and health care and everything. But from the financial side, trying to think of maybe who's an individual that you could trust in handling your finances, assisting you when it comes to that time. And if you don't have a family member or close friend or anyone that you could count on, talk to the attorneys. There's different businesses out there that would be able to act as a fiduciary, ultimately looking out for your best interest and following along with what you've been doing from a financial standpoint. And there's a lot to be thinking about with that, and who would be the right fit, who could take on that role for you. I've had an experience, many over the 18 years here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, where thankfully a lot of times the individual or couple that I might be working with will share with me as we've built a good, long, trusting relationship, and letting us know that, hey, the doctors shared with me that slowly my memory is not quite what it used to be. And so making your financial advisor aware of that, or others that you work closely with, is going to be important. So that way then you can, if potentially in a scenario where one individual ends up with losing memory, and it always seems to be the one that handles the primary amount of the finances, then the spouse maybe is stepping in, and we're then making sure there's a lot more group conversations when talking about things, and making sure then to continue with your overall plan. And hopefully the financial advisor would be recognizing when all of a sudden you've been, say, a more conservative investor, and you get that phone call saying, oh, I want to sell everything and go really aggressive. Wait, no, hold on now. Let's talk through that and better understand sort of what the reason is behind that, and making sure that it, again, follows what you've built over the years. So speaking of risk, normally in the later years, that's when you want to slow down a little bit and maybe not be as aggressive as you were. And so that's where, again, sharing, if you're having any memory issues and you're working alongside financial advisor, accountant, estate planning attorney, whoever it may be, making them aware of some of those changes, so that in your your memory and cognitive abilities, then that's important to share with them. So the other thing that we've done before is encouraged like a family meeting where maybe it's bringing in a child or multiple children to have a good open conversation about everything that's going on with your memory and how they could be of assistance and how we could ultimately work together as a team. And of course, there's going to be different rules that have to be followed within that, but that can be a helpful way to go. So. And those health issues could ultimately lead to different long-term care and what that looks like, and that's helpful again for your financial advisor to be aware of that possibility, and so they can again help prepare you, help get a plan put together, and get the attorney involved at the appropriate time. So if you're in a spot where potentially you're starting to notice some changes in your memory impairment, and I would encourage you to talk to someone. Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we would welcome the opportunity to sit down with you and your loved ones and again, overview of your overall retirement plan and make sure that you're on the right track and that ultimately everyone's working well to help you plan to retire well.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Are you nearing retirement or in retirement? Have you had your portfolio just looked at or have a second opinion on that portfolio recently? Centennial Wealth is a full-service advisory firm, and we have multiple locations in northern Michigan. I'm in the Gaylord office primarily. The office is right downtown Gaylord. Also up in the Petoskey office as well. That office is right off of 31. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to sit down and chat, and it's a free, no-obligation consultation, so just call the number on the screen.
I'm not sure if you're at all like I am, but I love statistics. I love reading about not even just financial stuff, but the different statistics of all of the different areas out there. And whenever I can kind of look and digest some of that, I find it very interesting. So we wanted to take a few minutes here and talk about some retirement planning statistics and what that is across America. Does this mean anything specifically to you? Probably not. You know, you have your own plan, or hopefully you at least should have your own retirement plan and it mapped out for that. But again, this is just kind of some of the general stuff out there that maybe some of your peers or like-minded people that are facing with. So we'll kind of walk through some of these and what they may mean. So the first one is there's 40 million American households that have no retirement savings at all. I mean, they literally do not have an IRA, Roth IRA, or 401k balance at all, or haven't even started yet. The average retirement savings account by age group, so from 35 to 44, that average group has a balance of $51,000. From 45 to 54, that age group has a balance of $90,000. And from 55 to 64, that age group has a balance of $120,000. So think of that, kind of obviously makes sense, right? As you age, hopefully that compounding interest and maybe additional contributions over the years are adding up from that. So 40 million have no balance, and then the average, though, as that. So obviously there's some that have substantially larger balances and obviously many that have none, right? Over a third of Americans don't believe they'll ever retire. You know, I think about this quite often. You know, generations far ago never really retired, right? They worked on the farm forever, or they worked in the factories. And in lifestyles, obviously, longevity, unfortunately, wasn't as long. You know, people basically worked until they passed away. Then a generation or two then started to kind of define retirement. Pensions started to become more of a thing, and savings, all that sort of stuff. And I think the boomer generation is really defining retirement now, and they're enjoying retirement, or many of them are, or soon to be. But then now when we kind of look ahead, you see this here, a third of Americans don't think they're ever going to retire again. Whether that's just they're concerned about finances or for other reasons, but they don't think they're ever going to retire again at all. 60% of Americans are going to rely solely on Social Security for their main source of retirement income. The average Social Security is about $1,600 a month. So think of that. If they're, so 60% of people is only going to rely on that. That's not a substantial income when you think of just general expenses in today with utilities and, if you're fortunate enough to even have your house paid off, taxes and insurances and utilities and food and all that sort of stuff adds up pretty quickly, doesn't it? 10,000 baby boomers 10,000 baby boomers each day turn 65. So that generation is getting aging at 10,000 a day, or hitting 65. That entire population, or that entire generation, I should say, is going to be of retirement age by 2030. So here in about 7 years, that entire generation, in theory, will be at retirement age and could be fully retired by then. The median retirement savings balance for baby boomers is $202,000, but the average boomer has a mortgage balance of $191,000 and some change. So I find that interesting. It's almost very similar numbers, isn't it? What they have saved, but they still have a substantial mortgage balance out there. So what does all of this mean? It's just interesting information. Again, what's important is what you have going on in your individual situation and how you're planning for your retirement. You've often heard me say retirement is like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle, but without the picture on the box to do that. These statistics are just different things along the way that kind of can make some challenges for this. So for you out there, if you don't have a retirement plan yet, if you haven't started saving, or if you have but you're not sure the path down, please give us a call. This is what we're here for. We're here to help you so you can plan to retire well and map out all those areas that give yourself confidence in your retirement. And so you don't have to be one of those people to believe that you're never going to retire. Hopefully you're in a spot that you can get to work towards getting that job that you've always wanted in retirement, to enjoy the things you want to do, whether that's travel, grandchildren, or more and beyond. So we look forward to the opportunity to visit with you for your no-cost, no-obligation visit here with Centennial Wealth Advisory.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we take a holistic approach to your retirement planning. So it's not just looking at what your investments are, but what is that long-term income plan for the next 30, 40 years of your retirement? What about taxes and what role they play in your retirement plan? Estate planning, what about life insurance, health insurance planning, all key areas to consider when looking at your retirement. So please visit our website or call the number on the screen. We'd love the opportunity to sit down with you for a no-cost, no-obligation visit.